Hello everyone, this is my first time doing a video like this, and today I'm going to present a tier list for Arabia. This is gonna be just based on my experience and on the new patch, of course. Before I start, I'm just gonna announce that I'm now going full-time on Twitch, and I will also put out videos more regularly on YouTube, and yeah, have just full focus on creating some good content. I've never made a tier list before. This is pretty new for me, but I at least have some experience from the ladder, like for this one at least, and yeah, personal experience from playing at a high level for all these years. When I do my ratings here on the civs, I will base them on their economy. I will base them like early game economy, late game economy. If they have bomber cannons, what kind of combinations they can go for. If they can go for the cav archer combinations, or infantry archer combinations. If they only have one combination to go for, if they're like versatile or not. Also based on a lot of monks. Monks are insanely good on Arabia these days, so that is going to be in my judgment. And of course, like what kind of upgrades they have for their units, not just what kind of units they have, and how they spike from early to late game. So we're gonna start off with the Aztecs. Aztecs haven't really changed a lot. Well, they got nerfed with the eagles here and there, but I still see Aztec as a really powerful civ. A civ that gets banned a lot in King of the Deserts, even though they have been nerfed. And yeah, their Jaguars got buffed a little bit, so I think they're still really strong. Their monks are really great. The relic bonus, they can get really good uptimes with their economy. Their army produce faster, and they're always a big threat for the opponents. Starting with Aztecs on top here, and then we go next to Bengalis. Bengalis have been really strong on closed maps, but if you have a really open map, they do kind of struggle. And for the late game, they don't really offer that much. Although, from my personal experience, Bengalis can be very strong if you get the full wall, get a little boom going behind. They are kind of hard to catch. They have really good monks. They have good archer option, at least with elephant archers. And yeah, well, calves aren't really good for them. So since they are only like one unit kind of thing, or like one trick pony, you could kind of say, I still think, think they're kind of weak. Their scouts recently got a buff against the skirmishers, which helps for feudal fights. Can get the momentum and get them going. So, all in all, good eco civ, meh in army. So, I will go for a B tier for Bengalis here. They are still a threat. Then we can move on to the Berbers. Berbers haven't really changed a lot. They have got their villagers a little bit nerfed. Their movement speed, that is. They still have cheap knights. They have great archer combination. You can go for janitors if they're going to go for a direct counter to crossbowmen. Have bomber cannons, etc. Good for late game, I'd say. They don't have like insane late game, but quite good with the hussar raids. Missing arbalest kind of sucks, so I'll still put have to be kind of a strong B tier for Berbers. I almost want to put them an A, honestly, but yeah, let's go for a B here, honestly. Up next we have Bohemians. On Arabia, I do not like Bohemians a lot. Honestly, they're insane late game on like Black Forest, etc. But for Arabia, Bohemians feel like it's kind of weak. Yes, they can wall up, they can get some eco bonus from their monastery, actually having faster villager really good, and getting crossbow with chemistry and castage can be also strong, but other than that, well, okay, mining bonus, stone bonus, gold bonus, of course, could be helpful. Market abuse, go up faster. Get some nice momentum with crossbow. They're lacking bloodline, so they don't really have that strong RP combination that you're looking for with archers and knights. Put them on C here, honestly. Yeah, not a big fan of them. Britons, okay. Britons have still quite great range on the crossbow. Yes, their archery production got a bit slower, But it's the range that matters for me with Britons. Their economy with the cheap TCs, able to go faster to, not faster to imp, but I feel like with their economy bonus with the sheep, faster uptime in the feudalage, get some momentum, get 3 TC and go quick to imp with Arbalest. That's their strong play. Later and later, I feel like they get weaker. You don't really get the raiding in the same ways as the civs with the fully upgraded Hussar, etc. But they're insanely strong at holding positions and yeah, pushing forward, getting early momentum. So I go for an A tier here with the Britons, simply because they have strong eco, strong army, and yeah, I just like them a lot. If you're not an archer player or something, maybe not for you on the B tier. Next up is Bulgarians. For me, Bulgarians feel kind of bad because like you don't have the crossbowmen when you're going to the feudal age. They're still like the conics got changed in the new patch, right? So the conics have been a bit better. When the conic die, they turn into an infantry, so it gets a bit stronger. They have pretty good Hussar with unique tech. They have fully upgraded Skirm. If I'm not wrong, they're missing an armor. But they have Bracer. They can go Skirm Hussar. That's okay for trash late game fights. So yeah, Bulgarians, they have Bloodlines. They can go Scouts. They have the cheap men at arms, go for fast pressure, cheap blacksmith upgrades. For me, like when I'm playing Arabia, I really like to have at least crossbow available for me, but I wouldn't put them up on A tier. They can't really match up with the civs such as Britons and the other civs that will come here. I'm kind of missing the eco bonuses, you know, eco bonuses and a little bit more army combination to put them up here. But they are strong with that early pressure for sure. Burgundy are tricky. They get eco techs in earlier ages and discount on them. So they have a great economy. Army-wise, I don't think they're that good. They don't have the Arbalest, they don't have Bloodlines, but they can get Cavalier and Castlage. Their unique unit, however, is the Costelier, which can get an insane spike in the later games. So, honestly, depend how the map is. If you have a very open map, I would go as far as say as Burgundians is a C tier civ because you just get stomped. If you can wall and stuff like that, they're an A tier. So I'll put Burgundians as a pretty good B tier civ for now, because they're kind of in the middle here, and they can be super dangerous and also super bad. So that's why I kind of scared of picking Burgundians in Arabia, because if it's open, as I said, not the best civ. Then we can go next to Burmese. Burmese, quite good eco with the free wood upgrades. Super underrated in my opinion, that eco upgrade, or eco bonus rather. But other than that, Burmese is kind of meh. They don't have the armor on the crossbow. I mean, they have the first armor in the blacksmith, but you need like 2 more, which they don't have, and that makes their skirmishers pretty weak. So if you're gonna go skirm defense against crossbow, for example, Burmese hard die to all kinds of archers save almost, like Britons, Vietnamese. They die to, I would say, Vikings. They die to Mayans, die to Mongol. So they struggle a lot against archer civ, but they're insanely good against cav civs in my opinion, because they got some really nice monks with the cheaper techs. They have access to iron bites, which are really great against cavs. They recently, Burmese haven't changed that much, and very situational here too, but B tier for me, Burmese for sure. Byzantine was picked a lot in the King Desert. By the way, I don't think Burmese was picked almost once, if I'm not wrong. While Byzantine got banned a lot, they got picked a lot. Byzantine is actually a really solid civilization. Of course, there were a lot of bans in King of the Desert, like 10 bans if we were all banning the same civs. Byzantine can be extremely dangerous with their faster up. They're really good monks, really strong buildings, so it's hard to break in. They have cheap skirms, cheap spearmen. Haven't really got a lot of changes for Arabia recently. Just staying solid. Easy to defend against cavs with the cheap camos. Easy to defend against archers with the cheap skirmishers. And super dangerous when it comes to going fast up. I'll put Byzantines up pretty high. I'll go for an A tier on them. The weakness of Byzantine, however, is the fast eco-civs, the ones that can put pressure, like men-at-arms, pressure on the Byzantine with fast archer and going fast up crossbow knights. Crossbow knights is a deadly combination, and if you have a strong eco behind that too, Byzantine will maybe suffer. Therefore, it doesn't go up here. If Byzantine is going to be an S tier civ, they need like an eco bonus. But for now, they're pretty solid. Therefore, going for an A tier there. Celts. Huang would of course put it here, but I'm not Huang. Celts have received quite a lot of changes. They have the stronghold, the heal, the Woads heal under castle. Woads are stronger now. It's not a lot of changes, but Woad Raiders being stronger means they're pretty solid for imp. Celts have always been like kind of dangerous. Like Huang plays them really well, for example, and the fast siege push with the siege pike and everything is really deadly. But I remember a game I was playing Celts against Byzantine, and once you put that siege up forward and your opponent gets redemption, Celts struggles so much against redemption monks. They don't have really good cav, so they don't really counter the monks that well. Archers are really garbage, they don't get bracer later, and they don't have tumbling. So all they really are is just an infantry civ. An infantry civ, yes, it's been buffed a little bit here and there with the Gambesons coming out, giving the armor for the men-at-arms. I still think Celts is just not that great, but can be good because they have that wood upgrade, so their eco is kind of smooth behind. But they just have too many counters for Arabia. They need a closed map on Black Forest there, for example, excellent. They can free boom and go for their strong siege and Woad Raider combination and everything like that. Now, I don't think they're the best, so it's gonna be a C+, you know? Gonna be a strong C tier here. Chinese. Now, we've all been talking about Chinese this patch. They have been nerfed. Their eco-techs are not that cheap. They have been reduced to, I can't remember how many %, but they have been reduced so that they don't get that cheap techs, which means their eco is gonna be a bit hurt by that. They still start with the villagers, of course, which means they have a great early game with more villagers. But what made them really an S tier was their cheaper techs. Now, I haven't played Chinese that much right now on the ladder, but with this change, I fear that we're going to see Chinese moving from an S tier down to an A tier. I don't feel the same threat for the Chinese anymore. They don't have redemption. Their eco is going to be a bit weaker now, so you can keep up with the same pace. And for the late game, they don't have the siege engineer, they don't have bomber cannons. So they do struggle a little bit. So I'm going to put them on A tier now. They're still strong, as I said, with the eco, but not dominant anymore. Cumans, if you're Mr. Yo, you put them here. If you are me, you put them on D tier. If I'm going to be honest, Cumans is kind of bad. They have a very interesting style of play. You can put 2 TCs right away. Or you can go for army. Your opponent is going to have to scout actively to see what Cumans goes for, to be able to counter them correctly. And if they are able to scout it, if they're able to put the right amount of counter in, Cumans just end up really far down for me. But if you are able to get that 2C boom undisturbed and able to defend off feudal pressure, able to defend the castle age pressure without taking damage, they're an S tier, you know. If you play right against Cumans, any civ can kind of be good against them. I'll just put them on a C tier to be fair. To me, they're just not that good, but there are some players that are really good with them, of course. But that doesn't mean that they can be countered in the same way. Like if Cumans go for the 2 TC, you go normally Castle Age against them. And Magnal pressure with knights. If they go army, you go for army yourself in feudal and try to battle it out from there, because they don't have really that insane late game. They have no eco bonuses apart from that second TC, which means they are weak in eco. And they're kind of weak in army, not having bracer for imp. So yeah, it is a tough one. Maybe I should put him up here, honestly, as a weak B tier, because with the second TC, they just can make up so many good plays as well. Try it here. See if I can change my mind. Dravidians, what can I say about them? They're an excellent water civ, but for Arabia, in an open map, they are not that great. They get 200 wood on up. They get men at arm for cheap, so they can go men at arm archer really fast, have a really deadly pressure. If that doesn't work, Dravidians doesn't really work for me, guys. So I'll put them down on a C tier simply because their late game is really, really bad. Their eco is okay, but nothing more than that. And I feel like a combination of skirm, knights goes straight into Dravidians counter. So like counter on Dravidians. So really hard Dravidians to play with that. So sorry Dravidians, but I'll put you down there for now. I guess like when you make a tier list, here is the stronger B and here is weaker B, if I'm not wrong. So at least we can do it in my eyes. Can do have the stronger B tier here and the weaker here. All right, Ethiopians. Oh, faster archer. They haven't got a lot of changes. The Celts are still pretty good. They don't have bloodlines, but they have really an amazing like spike when they get up to ages, and they can put an amazing amount of pressure. And with that pressure, you can wall yourself, market abuse, go up like 18-19 minutes with crossbows, and have an insanely good early castle, and from there you take it in imp. So honestly, Ethiopians for me is so good with their faster archers that I would definitely put them up on an A tier. I think they were underused in King of the Desert a bit. People should have chosen them more often. But for example, a player like Nikov, etc., is really good with them. And to me, what the Ethiopians lack for an S tier is probably just bloodlines and another eco upgrade. But you can't make them overpowered either. But in my eyes, they are really strong in Arabia. Franks. Recently they have been changed with the berries gathering slower even. Now I feel Franks are kind of hard countered by civs like that are a bit quicker than them, and they don't really offer that much. They are very predictable going into knights, paladins, etc. Before you could probably put Franks on a solid A tier. Go like here, you know, but like go for a little bit weaker on an A tier civ now. I am afraid maybe even going for a B tier here in Arabia. I'm not sure because, well, they have weak monks. Their eco is a bit weaker now even. They have the free horse color. They have the stronger scouts too, which can be really, really good for early game. Going to skirm, scouts, and then knight skirm could be really good, or crossbow scouts as well. I mean, archer scouts and crossbow knights, they are a bit dangerous. And also their eco is quite good for opening archers and then go into knights later. If you're, for example, playing against Spanish or Burmese or something, you kind of want to, or men-at-arms civs, you want to open archers right away. And Franks is a quite good civ to do that with because they get the free horse color and better eco for your later age setup. So, cheaper castles. Siege engineer, they get bomber cannons, they get quite a good late game. Okay, let's put them on here, an A tier so far. See if I can change my mind later. Goths, now that their hunt bonus lasts longer, they went from here to at least here. But that's as far as they get, honestly. They don't get that much creds for me, honestly. They get more eco early game, but they're still an infantry civ to me, and they're still pretty predictable and easy to stop. So yeah, once Goths get rolling though, if you don't do enough damage to them, they're definitely higher up. But Goths should still be here, honestly. They don't get to that stage most of the time. Easy to read, easy to counter. They only have palisades, can't really make stone walls. Stone walls is not really well used, but if you are under pressure, you want to make a little stone wall to delay the pressure coming in. It's really nice with other civs, but Goths, nah. Doesn't really work. Easy to break. They don't have redemption to defend siege pushes. And infantry is not really good against siege. You have to go knights. Knights is easy to convert. So the siege monks really good against Goths. And yeah, they don't have good archers. So it's really hard for Goths to stop the siege push. And yeah, Goths is honestly just not that great for Arabia still. And then we have Gurjaras. Let's think a bit about this. Gurjaras was a lot used in the King of the Desert. They had a really high win rate. They still get a pretty good eco for putting sheep in the mill. They start with the camel scout, which is really good. Their Shiramsha riders are really strong if you want to go counter archers directly in cast stage. Their the throwers for unique units are really good against halps, so yeah, still like good eco-saves, good army. For me, Gurjaras gets on the A tier in front of Franks, in front of Ethiopians. Yeah, for sure. Hindustanis was an S tier a few patches ago, but have been nerfed. Their Gulams have been buffed now in the recent patch. Hindustanis is a solid civ. They can't boom as good now that their villagers are a bit more expensive, so their eco has been lowered, but they have good archers, they have good calves with the camels. Okay eco. Could have been a bit better, if their eco was better, they would be overpowered, so I'm gonna go for a strong B tier. They can go into the Gulams, counter the archers, and yeah, honestly, Hindustanis is still not that bad. They have really good late game as well with the hand cannon, bomber cannon, extra gold from relics if you upgrade the unique tech, and also gather gold faster in general. So to me, Hindustanis aren't that bad. I almost put them in A tier, but there'll be too many there. Huns, oh my god, I played Huns so much on Arabia, and they haven't changed a lot. They don't need houses, which makes them a really smooth civ. I played dozens of Huns War, but over the years, all the new civs that came on have changed so much, and Huns just not that great anymore. Too many camel civs, too many civ that countered the cav archers, which Huns were so great at making, and also they were made more expensive a long time ago. So Huns to me is still okay, but not really great. If I do this and put Huns here, I think that's fair. Huns is a B tier civ to me. They are easy to break, and they're easy to kind of predict, but they are quite scary. They're fast. They have really good count. If you're for example Franks, you play against full cav archers, you really struggle. So if you play the Huns right, get some momentum with them, they can really snowball into a great push. But for late game, they have the cav archer, they have the hussar, but they don't have the bomber cannons, they don't have the siege engineer, they don't have onager even, they don't have good monks. So that's why I'm putting them down here. Pretty bad late game. Their eco is so-so, and they're easy to break and hard to wall with because they don't have houses. So yeah, it's a struggle to play Huns, especially in a tournament. So this was definitely not my first choice. Incas been buffed a lot lately. Insanely strong. Mesocivs are super scary in general, and their food on the trash units are now cheaper, or units in general. Eagles are cheaper, everything. So I think that also helps their economy in many ways. Their house their house cover 10 population, so you don't need that many houses. You don't need to spend a lot of wooden houses. So you make farms, you make more farms faster. Their economy is great. They have good monks, they have good archers, they have great eagles, and pretty fair late game, honestly. So Incas is just a super deadly civ, so I'm going to put them on top here. I think still Aztecs is better than Incas. Many people will probably disagree with me there, but I just like Aztecs because with the gold bonus, the relics, and they're strong monks for the late game. Together with the Eagles, Jaguars, and Atlatl skirmishers, I think Aztecs should beat Incas. And Aztecs should beat more civs in general. Then we can go next to Italians. Italians is known for being a very good water civ, but in my opinion they are really great on Arabia as well. They have cheaper uptime. They have great archer civs. They have good calves. Pretty simple to play, honestly. So all in all, Italians have a good late game as well with the Hussar. They can go Bomber Tower. I think they lack Siege Engineer if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like top. But I always struggle against Italians because of their cheaper uptime. And if you play them right, they are very deadly. Condottiero, pressure, and stuff like that. So they're not only a good water civ, but they're also really, really good on Arabia. Good enough to put on A tier? No. So I put them on strong B tier here. Gonna B plus, almost put on A tier, but yeah, have good monks too, but they don't have that good economy as like. They need a little bit better economy, a little bit more solid there, so that's why I would put them here at the moment. Japanese have really good early game. Got some good economy going for them. The men at arms are scary. Faster attack speed, can break really fast if you go for early. If you want to go for darkish walls against Japanese, then don't, because they break it so fast. It's like they break through the palisade like paper, and suddenly you have 3 men at arms in, and you can't do anything but to run. Because if you try to fight back with wills against men at arms, especially the Japanese men at arms, they're really deadly as well. So be careful. If Japanese play against full walls from feudal and try to break in, getting into castle age, they feel like not that great because they don't have that power spike with eco with castle. They're mostly like good for building up early feudal and getting early feudal pressure. But if they don't make that pressure happen, it's not like you can rely on their economy that much. Cheaper lumbercans and stuff like that is not really enough for me. But they are definitely a threat with bloodlines, great archers, good monks for defense and offense even. And okay siege, but lacking bomber cans, etc. So I'm gonna put them on a little B tier here. Khmer, really good eco. Their farms just spiking a lot. They don't need the barracks to make an archer range, etc. They don't need a mill to make a market, so they can have really versatile strategies. Definitely a scary civilization. So with their eco and army combined, pretty good. When Khmer lost bomber cannons, I was pretty sad because they struggle against onager push and stuff like that. They have redemption, but they don't have the block printing to convert the onagers from far away. They struggle against bomber cannon halb or onager halb pushes. So that doesn't make them an S tier, but they make it quite a good A tier because of their economy. They have great armies. They can make great pressure. So yeah, on Arabia, Khmer really good. Late game on, for example, Black Forest and stuff like that, they don't really have much to offer. The Scorpions maybe, but bomber cannons and stuff is really needed, and not having that really sucks for them. And they don't have Tumbling on their ARB list. They don't have good cav archers. But they are definitely scary. Koreans, guys. Koreans got changed this recent patch as well. Now their units are costing, I believe, 50% less wood. And honestly, is this a good enough change to, like, before this patch, I would put Koreans on the D tier, no doubt. But after this, I've seen Koreans play, they seem kind of okay. But they're still easily countered by, for example, like going direct skirmishers. Their eco is not that good, and their calves are just so bad. I feel like playing with Koreans is just a struggle, man. They don't have good economy bonuses, if any. Their cheap units makes them have a little bit better eco, so it's easier to put down the farms and the TCs and the buildings, everything. But yeah, just the wood discount doesn't really give me a good feeling about Koreans. So I'll definitely go with a C tier here for Koreans. Lithuanians got changed recently, 2 patches ago, with their TCs getting 100 food. Every time you put up a TC, you get 100 food, so that makes their boom pretty good. But they start with less food in the feudal age, so they're not that good in early game, like early game, but they're better in castle age. And yeah, they've always been a threat with their lightest. They can go to monks, they can get the relics, and if you can get the relics, Lithuanians are so strong. But other than that, I feel like, yeah, well, the trash is really good. They move faster. But playing with Lithuanians, I can't really put my finger on it, but there's something missing about them that the other civ don't have. Even though you get that 100 food from the TCs, I still don't think that's good enough to compete with the Britons or the Franks, Khmer eco bonuses. Their units are strong, yes, but if you have a good eco bonus on your civ, it doesn't make up for the good units you can make. For example, Persian, you can make war elephants, but it takes forever for them to get there, so the other civs will just run over them before there. So before you get into your good units, Lithuanians are usually kind of on the back foot. But still, a super strong civ, and was picked a lot in King of the Desert. Although they had like 50% success. I will still go with Lithuanians on a pretty like A minus, you know, on the civ tier list, because they are definitely scary, but they lack a little bit to go to the top, you know. And then we can go over to Magyars. Magyars now produce their cav archers 25% faster, which is a huge deal. We know that Magyars have pretty good cav archers. We always made cav archers with Magyars mostly, like knights and into cav archers, stuff like that. And producing them even faster now is really great. Before this patch, I would put them here on a kind of like mediocre B tier civ, because they are quite weak with their economy. They have insanely good early game if they can get in with scouts. If the opponent's open, and break in with +1 scouts and do early damage on vills. But if they don't get that early spike, they're easy to outboom, and they're easy to pressure, because the knights aren't that scary. You get some monks, you get some crossbow with them, and push them. So yeah, it's not that bad. But with the new bonus now, massing cav is faster. That means they can get that power spike earlier and get that imp unit they want to the the unit they want to take into the late game, because cav for Magyars late game is really insane. So if they can get that mass fast, if you can get that eco going for them, if they get that early pressure, Magyars is around here. I'm not sure. Should I put them A and B? A or B? I will definitely put them in A here, I believe. Right. Malay, as we know, is pretty strong now. They got the free infantry armor. Then they up fast. They can get the early momentum. Upping fast also means that you are up with more villagers in the feudal age. So, and also in the cast age mostly, if you haven't taken damage. So their eco is amazing. What their units, or what this civ is lacking for late game is good cavs, like good Hussar, the Bloodlines, like armor, but they can go into cheap elephants and arbalest, which could be really strong. They have good monks. Karambits can be really annoying now, because you can easily take into them. And Malay was also picked a lot in King of the Desert, and had a pretty solid performance, so I'm going to put them on A tier, around here, which should be quite fair. I will definitely go Malay over Khmer, Lithuanians, and Magyars. Actually, if we do like this, it looks better. And now we go into Malians. Malians got a recent change now. Their gold isn't as good as they used to. They used to collect gold pretty fast last patch, but now they got nerfed a little bit. They were, in my eyes, even for King of the Desert, Malians wasn't an S tier for me. But they were picked a lot because of all the other S tier civs being banned. I will still say Malians for Arabia is a solid A tier. And I'll explain why I think so. Because they have the cheaper buildings still. The faster gold makes them abuse the market, which is a really famous strat lately. You can get a lot of gold and buy yourself up to the cast edge, and getting that fast crossbow into fast ballistic spike. University being cheaper and ballistic researching faster is huge. So they're really scary with that. They have good monks. They're really good late game, because they have the light cav with +7 with Furimba, and they have camels. They have hand cannoneer, they have bomber cannons, but they don't have siege engineers. That's why they're not an S tier for me, honestly. But yeah, I would say Malin is really strong. But they're missing a little bit more to be top civ. maybe Hussar would make them insane, and also, yeah, other things. But yeah, they're also missing Bracer, by the way. If they had Bracer, they would be overpowered. No question about it. And yeah, Mayans, you can guess, guys. There's no surprise. Mayans have been one of the most unchanged civs in my opinion. They have a bit more expensive egos now, but they're still really powerful. In my opinion, they have insanely good early game. Like, having eagle is always great. You can get early momentum, and they also got cheaper archers. If it weren't for their insanely cheap archers, I would definitely put Mayans down here. But since Mayans have always been such a solid civ, so dangerous with eagles, so dangerous with archer pressure, and having also this great economy behind, I'd say Mayans always go for an S tier here. And also, starting with 4 wheels is great. I think, in my eyes, these 3 meso civs deserve an S tier because they're insanely good. And the rest fall a little bit more behind. Then Mongols, guys. Mongols have insanely good hunt bonus. They can go up very fast and create a lot of pressure. They fall down in the Castle Age. I feel like when I get to Castle Age with Mongols, I struggle because their eco bonus isn't really the same in Arabia. You don't have that extra hunt to go for and things like that to spike up your economy. But if you have got that early pressure up and done some damage, Mongols have that little free boom to go into late game. And when you get into late game with Mongols, they are really good with their Magyars. They have excellent siege, even though we don't have bomber cannons. Magyars are just owning everything with their speed and their attack speed and damage and everything. So if you get that early damage, and if you play Mongols right, they are so dangerous. But there are a lot more civs, in my opinion, that are beating Mongols. They haven't got a lot of change recently. But yeah, I'll definitely go for Mongols on the A tier in the kind of weaker spot here. Persians, what can I say about them? Great for douche. Yeah, very predictable civ. They have okay economy with wheels producing faster. You can go for scouts, bloodlines, crossbow. They don't get bracer. They don't have any good late game, in my opinion. They're easy hard countered by halbs and arbalists. They don't have good siege with no siege engineer. They don't have good monks at all. They're really easy to break through, really easy to read. They don't have anything special. They cannot, like, if you're Koreans, for example, and you have then you have an ace, you know, you can go into your war wagons and push kind of hard. But if you're Persians, it's not like you can castle defense and go for war defense if you're being pressured. You just have that castle. While other civs can probably go for, like Goths can go for castle drop and get some Huskars out to counter your expo. But yeah, I'm really missing that from Persia. They don't really offer me that much. So really weak on the C tier line. Because I wouldn't put them on D because their eco is fine and their army is okay-ish. But that's all they are. They're okay. They're not good, and they're honestly one of the weakest one when I play them in Arabia. Good for douche though, and honestly their TCs are fine because when you get siege push, it's really nice to have that strong TC to hold an extra while while we boom behind and get some army. Other than that, yeah, it's not that good. Next up we have Poles. Poles on an open Arabia map, garbage, because you get into them and you attack. If they have 4 berries, go straight on the mill or full work in that case, and disrupt their economy so they can't get the eco going for them. They really struggle with that. But if Poles can wall up a little bit, just a little bit, they're insane because their full work provides an insane eco spike. Their late game is fine. They have good arbalists. They have okay cav. They have bomber cans. They have siege engineer. They're like, I'd say a better version of Franks, but now that I think about it, I would put Poles as a kind of weak A tier, and I'll put Franks on a B tier because Poles does everything that Franks do almost, but better. Because they have the arbalists, they have the knights and everything. They don't have paladins, of course, and they don't have +4 armor, but they have the Winged Hussar, great unique unit, great economy. So if you get a little bit wall with poles, a little bit early safety, they are amazing with the full work. So yeah, poles always been a very deadly civ. Next up, Portuguese. Portuguese has been counted as one of the S tier for many in Arabia. And I would kind of agree with that. They have cheap military units when it comes to gold. Their early game is super good with that gathering wood from berries. Like you can take some wood when you take berries. They have okay unique units. Their eco is great. They have a lot of options. They can go for monks. They can go for knights with bloodlines. They can go for arbalists. And while they do that, they're also floating a lot of gold. You can use the market a lot. And yeah, they're just really fast and can pump a lot of units at the same time. A lot of gold units. While usually you see skirm knights and something like that, they can mess like 30 crossbows and 20 knights at the same time. And also some monks behind. So yeah, Portuguese, with their gold and early pressure, is extremely good. And I have to kind of agree that their economy feels pretty smooth as well with the early berry bonus and everything. So do I put them on S tier though? No, I put them on strong A tier here, simply because they don't have that insane bonus for Castle Age Boom, in my opinion. Even though they're floating gold and you can use the market, etc. It doesn't give me that like huge food spike or anything when I play them. So, all right, we don't have any left. Saracens. Well, what is good with Saracens, guys? That's their market bonus. Their market bonus can be very, very deadly if Saracen can wall early, go for market. They can get really fast uptime. With that fast uptime, they can go for crossbow, break in the walls really fast before the other opponent reaches castle age. So walls are pretty dangerous to have if you're playing against Saracens. Yeah, what do I say about them? If they are really disturbed early game, they aren't really that good. If you can't get those walls, if you can't get those wheels on gold, if you get forward and stuff, Saracens struggle a bit. But if you have that back gold, you get forwarded, you kind of keep that gold in safety, a little bit of stone, do some market trickery. You can get up really, really much faster than your opponent, and therefore have a really good power spike going for you. I don't see any big weaknesses in Saracens other than what I just mentioned. Their boom is fine. I mean, you can also market abuse to boom. They have really good late game. They have the arbalists. They have good cavalries. They have Mamelukes. Good unique in it, honestly. I'm not even trolling. And monks. Really, really good monks. So they're really good at defending. With Saracens, other than that their eco is not that insane if you're under pressure, which most other civs on the A tier and S tier line are. They're really good as eco under pressure when others struggle. So Saracen is a strong B tier for me. Yeah, what can you say? It's a little tricky civ to have in a draft because they're very unpredictable and everyone finds them a bit scary when they play against them. Next up, Sicilians. Alright, Sicilians don't really receive any changes, a lot of changes in this patch. To me, they feel really weak to play with, honestly. They don't have that much to offer. They don't have the great Arbalest with the Thumbering. They have okay Cavs, and they got Bomber Cannons, really bad Monks. And their eco bonus is not really that great. When you research Horse Killer, you do get more food on the farms. And to me, up the recent patches when Sicilians also received less bonus damage, they haven't really been that great to play with, and I feel like I get hard countered by almost every civ. So in my book, Sicilian, I will never play with them. I'll never choose them. Okay, their sergeants are okay when you go for Dungeon Rush, for example. They get quite strong over the ages, but yeah, they did receive that change lately when you can research spearmen and you can build archery ranges and stables after making the dungeon. But honestly, that's not a huge change because you have to make the dungeon in the feudal age. It takes a while to get that up, and then your stable and archery range get delayed. So in my opinion, it's not good. And you also use stones. You only sit there with 100 something stone. You can't get 2 TCs up right away. So how that is great, I don't see. And yeah, Sicilians haven't really convinced me as a good civ because their eco is really really bad and they're hard to play with, honestly. So yeah, I say Sicilians about a D tier. Sorry, Sicilians. Slavs, good farms, good eco, and that's that. They don't really convince me. They have quite bad archery lineup. They have okay calves. Late game is so-so. They don't have great siege. Yeah, well, they have, of course, rams and siege hunters, but they don't have bombercans, which I think is huge. Their monks are okay. Their helps are okay. But in my opinion, they're really easy to counter if you have an archer civ with redemption, etc. But their eco makes them quite scary. They get good uptimes. They can get fast pressure going. They have good siege pushes. So I'll put Slavs on a strong, weak B tier, almost on a strong C. Spanish have received changes lately. They now get 20 gold each tech they receive, which is quite great. So you can definitely feel that when you play with Spanish. Their conks are still the biggest threat for the enemies, even though they have been nerfed with the Pierce army. You don't really notice it that much. They have good monks, their eco is okay, but not great, obviously. They don't get crossbow, which is a huge minus. But they have really good late game with the supremacy, great defense. They have bomber towers, good bomber cannons with them shooting faster, good hank in there. So Spanish is solid, but not more than a solid. Definitely can be a really good counter to, like, if I'm playing Franks and I'm playing in Spanish, I'm actually directly scared against the conks. And if you have a close map there, you can get conks out with monks and siege. They're really really deadly. But you can't always rely on these things when you play Arabia, so I'll put them on a yeah, kind of okay B tier together with Burmese. They feel like they kind of have something in common. Tatars haven't really received a lot of changes late patch. They still have the same thing going for them. Lasting longer sheep, good archers, free timbering. Can be very deadly with walls, mark it up and go fast crossbow or fast cav archers. Late game they are okay, nothing huge really. Just go for B tier. Yeah, what can I say? I don't feel like their boom is that great. Yes, you get 2 sheep on your TC when you make a TC, but you don't have the farm bonus, you don't have wood bonus. If you are a little bit under pressure, I feel like it's so hard to get that Tatar bonus spiking and getting into your late game units, because your late game units are quite expensive. So that's why I'm putting them there. Alright. Teutons. I mean, they also didn't receive any changes the recent patch that are major. All the civs that I mentioned have, or some of the civs I mentioned now have gotten changes, as I mentioned, but some I forgot to mention. But if I didn't mention it, it's because they don't really have that big impact on Arabia at the moment. But Teutons, quite solid. Their cheaper farm is quite underrated. They have weak archers though, which is sad. That's why they're not that insane. They have good eco. I'm putting Teutons around like a mid B tier civ, simply because they have good economy. They can do some great pushes, and they have okay late game. So yeah, Teutons quite underrated a lot of times, but nothing more than that. Now guys, comes to Turks. Sadly, Turks have received a change. Well, I'm kind of happy about that, honestly, because Janissaries now get 7 range instead of 8, which means they no longer can outrange a Mangonel. They are easier exposed to crossbows. They can get converted easier. So if you wall up with Turks and go for a fast push, definitely sucks. They're more nerfed in Arena than Arabia for sure, and Black Forest, etc. But sometimes going Janissary on Arabia is very viable too, if you have a map with a lot of wood. On open maps, Turks are okay. They get the scouts with extra pierce armor, but their villagers gather gold faster, so they can get some more archers out, but they don't get arbalest, etc. Their cavalries are okay. Their eco is just not too good to compete with the top though. They are quite strong with their light cav, okay with the archers, but now with the Janissary nerf as well, Turks sadly goes down here for me, or maybe even here. I think I'll put them a weak B tier, honestly. And now though comes to Vietnamese. Every technology is now researches 100% faster, guys. That means if you research wheelbarrow, normally it will cost you 3 villagers, now it costs you 1.5. Wood upgrade goes instantly almost, and horse color, etc. Really nice, and they also had quite okay bonuses before. It really feels strong to me, and when you get to the later game, Imperial skirms are also cheaper. So Vietnamese made a for me, like, I would say Vietnamese was a B tier. Now it made a boost up to an A tier civ for Arabia. They have really good archers now. Super scary when you play archer skirms. You can mix in some cats because they have bloodlines, and the Rico is quite good with the text. Like when you also research eco upgrades, they don't cost wood, so you only use food on it. It's great. So for me, Vietnamese are there. Vikings didn't get a lot of changes this patch. We still see them as, I still see them as a threat. The free hand cards super good. Their berserkers got a buff recently, and also their archers got a buff recently because of the unique tech. I think Vikings is a solid A tier civ. I'll probably move Vietnamese over here, even, and yeah, maybe even over here. Vikings get on like an A minus, but yeah, still very deadly. But they don't have the good monks for defense. Usually that's kind of huge, and they also don't have bloodlines on their knights. They don't have good caps for late game, so they're not good at raiding. But their berserks kind of make up for it because they can be so scary. Vikings, yeah, with the free hand card is great. Then, guys, comes Romans, which is a new civilization added. It's not on this list, but we will edit it in this video and put them on a tier here. I've played a bit with Romans. I played against Romans, and honestly, their men-at-arms feel like you're playing against zombies when they get the armor upgrades. I played against Doubt the other day. He was playing Romans. First time playing against him, he went men-at-arms early. Went for fast blacksmith, armor upgrade, and my archers like tickled him. I was amazingly surprised by that. But after playing Romans a bit myself, I found out they have quite easy counter. They don't have that great archer line either. So if you're only going to rely on men-at-arms and a little bit of chaos for Arabia, you're going to be in problems, in my opinion. The Rico is quite great. They gather everything 5% faster, repair faster, and build I think 5% faster. So everything's like 5% faster than other normal civs that don't have that much bonuses. But if it's noticeable, yeah, not that very much. They are okay-ish. So since they're lacking that great archer line and don't really have that insane late game, like their unique units are okay. They are quite good against other knights and stuff, but they died insanely easy to an archer unit when I was playing against them, and felt like I couldn't really do much with them. They're quite expensive and feel kind of goofy to play with. Still okay though. I will put Romans on a like mediocre or quite strong B tier around here with Hindustanis and Berbers. So in between here comes Romans for me now. Of course, there's a lot more to experience with that civ, and yeah, that's at least my opinion about this tier list for now in Arabia. Hope you guys enjoyed my first tier list. Probably so much things I can improve. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any questions, then put it in the comments of the video, and I will try to answer every comment that I see. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.